All right, y'all. Welcome to another late evening here in the shop. We're been wrapping up projects all day, trying to get some stuff knocked out, but we're fixing to start on our next pour here. But I wanted to take a quick second to talk to you about some of the equipment that I use when I'm doing these projects. And one of my key items, one of the key tools that I use for any epoxy project is sitting right here in front of me. So what is it, you ask? These are Aha Nui artisan forms. Keith and his partner own this company. They're another North Texas small business, and there's some really great people. The product that they put out, I tell you what, if I didn't use it all the time and really trust in what it is I'm putting my projects into, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it. And Keith doesn't know that I'm making this video, but I really do want to shout him out. Aha Nui Artisan. So what is it, you ask? These are high density polyethylene forms. And I get it. You're like, oh, well, there's all these other forms out there. You can buy them. I see them on Temu, TikTok Shop, all over the place. And they all have their functions, right? A lot of these thick silicone molds, I have them. I use them. They're great, but they're not, when it comes to longevity, you can't use them over and over and over again. They're going to wear out. What the guys over at Aha Nui have done, they've put together a form that you can use time and time again. This big one here, I tell you, I've lost count how many times over the last year. And prepping it properly and doing what you're supposed to, my projects come out great every time. I never have to worry about leaks. They're just a top-notch product. So what is it, though? So, like I said, it's HDPE, high-density polyethylene. These forms, you got your base plate, you got your runners that run along the side. They're bolted all the way around. On the ends, they're gasketed. So you got a little rubber gasket that's on the ends that's built into the form. And when you bolt this thing together, I promise you, it is liquid tight. If there's any leaking, it's the smallest amount. And I can tell you, as a woodworker, as a craftsman that works a lot with epoxy and wood, that is always our biggest fear, is we pour a big project and we lose half our epoxy on the ground. It's expensive. I get it, but I'm telling you, these forms are amazing. So they come in a bunch of different sizes. You got your small coaster form here. It's 4 inches wide by 17 inches long. You got your next step up for whatever project you might do. If it's smaller serving tray, I've made some mash trays and stuff out of these for some of my cigar guys. It's going to be 8.5 inches by 18.5 wide. And then we got your next one, your all-around charcuterie board serving tray. This one's going to be 12.5 by 20.5. Guys, these are amazing products. Like I said, I use them day in and day out all the time. But what I'm most excited about is the project we're starting tonight. The form that I've got is sitting underneath. And it's a coffee table form. So it's 2 foot wide by 48 inches long. 2 foot by 4 foot. And again, it's that same high density polyethylene. And I know for a fact that when I put this together and I pour my project, I have the peace of mind that the epoxy I put in there is going to stay in there. So, again, wanted to give a shout out to these guys and really just put their product out there, because if you had the ability to go out and get some of these and use them, I can promise you're not going to regret it. So, let's go ahead and open this one up on the bottom, get it put together, and I'll show you what it is we're working with. Alright guys, so as you're putting these together, I can promise you I've learned the hard way. I know it's a little bit more work, but in the long run, don't use your impact gun. Use a screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver. Yeah, that's a little bit more, but impact is too much. Your drill driver is too much. You're going to strip the heads out, and you don't want to over tighten it. You just want to get it good and firm. That silicone that's on these end pieces, or on these long sides, the silicone seal that's in there is what's going to do the work for you. So spend the time, just go old school with it, get you a screwdriver and just start screwing these all in there. It's going to be so much easier for you, I promise. Alright, so now we're doing to the ends, or we're working on the ends here now. So, as I said, with the smaller forms, they do have that rubber gasket. These forms, as they get bigger, the gasket's just not enough. As I understand it, talking to Keith, the silicone, or RTV, is going to give you better protection on these bigger forms. There's too much span, and the weight of the epoxy, it can move it that fraction of an inch, and could cause a leak. So we're going to seal this up good with RTV as well. And you got to remember on this, because we're on the end now, we're going to go along the bottom and then up the sides as well. So we have a good seal all the way around the form. Alright guys, well there you have it. Sorry we jumped ahead a little bit. I didn't realize my battery died. But so we got our big form put together, and I brought the other ones back out just to kind of show you the differences between the two. So coffee table form, again, it's 2 foot by 4 foot. Your smaller ones, you got your coaster form, that's going to be the 4 by 17. Your mid-size, it's 8 by 18.5, I believe. And then your big one's going to be 12.5 by 20.5. Some of the key differences: your smaller forms, they're going to have your hold down rails that go across the top. On the mid-size and your standard size charcuterie board form, it's going to have the grooves milled across the top of the rails here, allow you to fit your bolt and your nut down so you can hold your stuff down. You've got Aha Nui, they send with all their forms, you got little blocks in different sizes so you can sit under there, hold your material down. On the big form, it's a little bit different. Down the long rails, the groove is going to be milled along the side because they use these bigger bars. It's got a stiffener along the back, and you want to tighten it down from the sides here. But you still have the freedom to move it all along the side there, and just make sure you can get it right over your wood so your wood don't start floating on you. But one other major difference is your smaller forms. the regular size, the mid size. The coaster doesn't have it, but it's going to have these feet on the bottom of it. So if you see here, you got these feet that are adjustable. You can adjust it from the top, and that's just really going to let you get your form level prior to your pour. They all have bubble levels on either end, your long side, your short side, just to make sure your form's level. Your big coffee table form and anything bigger, they're not going to have those feet on it, just because with the weight of the epoxy and the wood, once you get it all in there, you're apt for the form to start bending on you. You start getting some deflection in the form. So you want that sitting flat on your table or whatever it is you're setting it up on, stand or whatnot. But you want to make sure that tabletop is level. So when you put your form down, you know you're going to have an even pour. But guys, that's really it. Like I said, when it comes to forms, Aha Nui's doing it right. I've used them all. I've got the thick silicone forms, and they're great. But you mess one thing up, you don't use the right release agent, you start getting tear out, and then that form's done for. On all the stuff I've done with those, I usually average a good 10 to 15 pours, maybe if I'm lucky, before I start getting tear out, and then it's just more work and I have to replace the form. Guys, I've been using these all year long, even longer than that. As you can tell, there's epoxy all over it, and it just pops off, keep going. Actually, it's probably getting to the point where I've got to maybe start talking about replacing some of these, because they get used so much. But even at that, they're still great. They don't leak, have no issues with them. So guys, y'all go on ahanuiartisans.com, check them out, show Keith and them some love over there. Really, you can't go wrong with it. But y'all have a great night. We're going to get prepped for this next table pour, and we'll see you next time.